I was actually just doing what I'm gonna do with you. I've spent the last hour or so doing a nice savasana, and that's what we're gonna be doing today. Oh, why did I choose long sleeves? Oh, I just took a shower, picked up the first t-shirt. It's hot here. Okay. What do you need? We are gonna do a full meditation in savasana. I guess yoga nidra, some of the people call it. You need maybe a double yoga mat. If you have two, that would be nice, so it's a bit softer. You need maybe a pillow. You need maybe a blanket, not here in Portugal, but depending where you are. And if you want to make it extra special, you can put a little music. Enough so you can hear me, so a little low. Where did I leave my water? Wait. There. What else do you need? Yeah. If you're in the tropics, maybe a mosquito net. Okay. Did you have time to pick up all that? Lie down on your back. Let's see if I stop shifting and I settle down. This is something that happens when there is a human interaction with the camera. It takes a little longer. Okay. Slowly, slowly. Okay. So, lie down, facing up, shoulders relaxed, palms up. That allows your shoulder to relax on an external rotation, and relax your hips so your feet will open to the sides. If you have issues with your back, maybe you want to have a pillow under the knees so the hip flexors are a little relaxed. It depends on your neck posture and habits and situation and your age. Maybe a pillow feels more comfortable than straight on the floor. And if you have, it does. If you have one of these floor sofas or a mattress or something you can use and be a little softer on the mats, better. You're going to close your eyes. You can meditate with eyes slightly open, but I think on a laying down position is more intuitive to close your eyes. It feels more natural. And with the sounds of a little village in the south of Portugal that probably are leaking behind my voice, my full of water in the sinuses voice. I was surfing today. Let the environment sounds, both from this projection and from the place where you're living, let them, I don't know how to explain with sound, fill the space. Somehow, if you're in your apartment or your house, whichever sounds you hear, they will give you the sense of being a little far away. Even if it's your neighbors, there's a couple of walls in between. So feel the space. Feel that somehow for this next half hour, 1 hour, you have managed to create a situation where you are peaceful, you are warm, you're fed, and you are alone without facing fear, direct fear for your life. I know we give it for granted, we take it for granted, but Yeah, still to this day, every time I practice yoga, I feel like it's good fortune. How did we come here? Yeah, from the sounds of the environment. And time, I can't say something all the time, so I take my pauses. But besides for my own sanity, it's for you as well. You want whichever task, whichever exercise, whichever meditation technique you're going to use from here on, you almost want that to be secondary to the act of being with yourself undisturbed, quiet for a few minutes. So whichever technique we use will overimpose on this reality, but for me that is still the most essential part of this practice. You take a few minutes and you spend them with yourself, not with yourself doing something, but with yourself. And then we start using some yoga tools. Which can we start with first? Let's leave the breath a little bit for now and let's go into the feeling of weight in the body. That sixth sense of how gravity pulls you down to the ground. I was thinking about this bad boy when I was in savasana before. Okay, go to your head now, feel your head and feel your neck. And you can feel the weight of the head, and you can feel that somehow there's a little bit more to release, that somehow, as a product of the habit of the rest of the day, engaging your body for action, a little bit of that muscular tension holding the skeleton in place remains. Residual tension from the activity of the day. Also residual tension from habits that we might have accumulated over time. So as you continue observing your body in your meditation practice on the floor, see if you can release, now we were talking about the head, a little bit more the weight of the head. I started here because that attachment from neck to head, from neck to shoulders, it's is close to the place that we tend to associate with ourselves. Somehow we project our identity from the face very much, the place we speak, the place we see, the place we think. So the sensations in your body, the sensitivity close to your face, feels a little clearer. Neck, jaws, shoulders. But then the same principle, we're going to take it all over the body. So neck, head and shoulders, and a similar system, hips, hugging your sacrum, where the spine begins from. Lower vertebrae, sacroiliac joints, hip bones, pelvis in general, the same feeling of heaviness. And then carry this through the limbs. Feel your legs heavy, the bones, the joint. I like to feel the knee heavy, the ankle heavy, the elbow in the arms, the wrist. And then following hips into the spine, following shoulders into the rib cage. Connect them too with the rest of the spine. Fill the gap in the front from rib cage to hip bones where there is no skeleton, is only the spine through the back. And then we take the observation into the three-dimensional space that the body is occupying, to the interior of the body. And there we apply the same idea, heaviness. You don't need to specifically distinguish an organ or a particular muscle isolated, but you can distinguish different densities. Some areas in the abdomen, some areas in the chest, they feel with higher density, sometimes even pain, or even before pain, like pressure. And some other areas feel more relaxed, but to the other extreme, you can also feel parts of your body that are a little maybe numb or a little empty. In Shiatsu, working with the different meridians and the spots in the body, we call this a Yitsu, a point that has a higher level of energy than usual, or Kyo, an area of the body that has a lower degree of life flow, let's call it that way, Chi. Heaviness, the sense of heaviness, tends to repart as well. As things fall, they don't just fall down, they fall into place. So this process of relaxation through weight and gravity, eventually, although we are working with thick energy, weight and pressure, starts to allow you to feel how there is vibrance throughout the whole body. You start to feel it in the palms of the hands, or in the wrists, or in the lips, or in the temples. You start to be more aware of the movement of the diaphragm, even though we have not yet gone to the breath. Maybe the lines through the arms or through the legs. And now, yes, now we're going to move attention to the breathing. And I give you a little time. Don't change anything. Do this. Place attention on the breathing, maybe on the movement of the diaphragm itself, and start to feel the way the weight moves. Pay attention to the cycle. How is the inhale, where it reaches the top, how it releases down. How is the end of the exhale, how two breaths link into each other. When you have the time to observe 5, 10, 15, 20 breaths, is there a very monotonous rhythm to the breath? Or do you feel it changing? Some breaths shorter, longer. And then we're going to do a very soft manipulation to start with. So at the end of the exhale, you're going to allow for a little pause or a little gap, for a little space before you take your next inhale. Kind of take it as a moment of silence. It doesn't need to be long. But if you have one breath and then the next one, and they feel like one is pushing to the other one or one is pulling from the other one, that moment of relationships from the borderline from past to future, yeah, that now in the breath, at the end of an exhale, we're gonna just open it up, create a little bit more space so we can see the release of the diaphragm, the moment of inactivity, the moment that starts to tense into the next inhale. And that moment of inactivity, it depends. Sometimes it feels really comfortable, quite long, and sometimes it's just a little pause. With this simple exercise, you give yourself some time. Once again, every new task that we give ourselves, we let it sink. It's very normal that still your attention is moving to my words, your attention is moving to sounds, your attention is moving to thought, your attention is moving to the body. We are not looking for a perfectly in place attention. In a Yoga Nidra practice, we let things happen. We're looking for the path of least resistance. We try to stay awake. That's probably the highest point of discipline in this practice. We try to not tractor. What is it? Tractor. My friend, the tractor. We try not to get lost in thought eternally. Fluctuations of thought are going to create discontinuities in your attention. But if you see that these discontinuities last for a long time and you're just here laying down and thinking, then focus a little stronger on the breath. But if you are neither falling asleep nor you have too much on your head, this practice, we go easy. Controlling focus is gentle. It's more a suggestion. It's more of a, come here, my friend, and attention goes. Come here, my friend, and attention goes. Working this way, eventually attention will come and it will remain steadier. So with all this, body is heavy, mind is coming up to the surface, is going through that heaviness in different areas, both high density and softer density, bones and soft tissue. We have connected a little bit with the sense of vibration and energy movement in the body. And we have connected with the breath and allowed it to have a bit of a cycle with our observation, where it has sunk in a new place with a little bit of space between breaths. From there, we're gonna work on the inhales just for a few minutes. Then I'm gonna let you go again on natural breath. But for a few minutes, you're gonna start inhaling a little slower. And then normally you will feel as you move the first half of the inhale, there is a resistance that begins. After a few seconds, the diaphragm doesn't move just easy. You gotta push a bit, and normally we would stop there and just exhale. Now, controlling the breath, what I want you to do is, as you start to feel that resistance to the movement of the diaphragm on an inhale, keep going. Keep moving slowly your diaphragm. Imagine that you're moving a flat hand forward as if it was a Tai Chi exercise. In this case, your diaphragm is a hand inside your body that is moving downwards. And as you feel resistance, you're going to keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing, without overwhelming yourself into a bigger inhale. Leave a little moment at the top where you enjoy that feeling of being full in your lungs. And then slowly release the exhale in the same way, cushioning it, not dropping it, but accompanying it all the way to the end. Do that for 3, 4, 5 breaths. Take a little break. Do it again for 3, 4, 5 breaths. Take a little break. If it feels easy, put more breaths together. Don't bring the breath to the edge. Leave a little space. You could breathe a little more. You could take a little more air in. Leave that space. Don't overwhelm yourself. Same on the exhale. You could maybe prolong the exhale and have a very long pause before the next inhale. Don't push it. Be comfortable in the breath. Even if you're working with it into bigger cycles, be comfortable. That would have given us a couple of minutes. And from here on, let's say, take this way of working with the breath and keep it there for any section of the following minutes where you feel that either you need to wake up or you feel that you want to use the breath to penetrate in the body. This is a feeling that the meditator has often, where you want to feel a part of the body that is a little deeper, buried, and kind of your inhale becomes like your eyes inside the body, becomes a vehicle to carry awareness into the body. The exhale leaves that area a little heavier in sense of release, but with the feeling of having more space as well, a little softer. And that is going to be our next exercise. Heavy in the body, aware of subtle vibrations, not just thickness and heaviness and pain, but also the vibrance of the body. Aware of the breath, aware of our capacity to manipulate the breath as a healing tool. Okay, these are our tools. Now, start moving through the body. Where do you feel that you need to come closer with a magnifying glass and spend a little time? So the next exercise is find points, find corners, spaces between vertebrae where you have had an injury, or that achy knee, or somehow when you were young you had surgery, or you have had an issue that has required that you took some medicine and you feel your liver is a little achy. Anybody has a story? Anybody has scars? So now you take your meditation, you take your tools, you take your inner eye in the body, sensitivity and breath, and you find those corners. When you find one, maybe you don't feel it at first, maybe you know it's there, maybe the doctor has told you. You wait until you feel it. Be patient. If after 1 or 2 minutes you still don't feel it, move to another area and come back later. It doesn't need to be one point. There are times that we get a little obsessed with this one thing that I want to fix, and the neurotic perfectionist in us comes up in meditation and gets very obsessed with this one thing. Interest. There's a nice driving force or curiosity, but a sense that you're going to accomplish a great conclusion usually closes your sensitivity rather than expand it. And to the other extent, you don't need to go to 1,000,000 points and touch and go. It doesn't need to be the same things that you did yesterday. And you don't need to get stuck with problematic areas. That can be one or two that maybe you know, but also feel healthy areas that for whichever reason are calling your attention. It's important, I think, in the practice that we don't just focus on a new approach to problems, but also that we have that space to celebrate that which is healthy and vibrant. And we keep going a little further. Body heavy, mind relaxed, aware of letting go into gravity, and aware of the vibrance of the body as it becomes more spacious, aware of different densities, aware of the process of softening, aware of breath and of our capacity to work with it. And then sensitive because we also sharpen ourselves to try to go to places that are difficult to feel. So now we are very awake in a way. So, next exercise. Now we're going to try to unify. Yeah, we were going to points. That means that you go here first, and then you move your attention and you go there next. Now we're going to try to feel, maybe with less detail, but by feeling the vibrance in the body, we're going to try to feel a bigger surface of it simultaneously. This is how I do it. First, I tune in with my breath. I feel the movement of the diaphragm, and I feel the waves moving my body. Now, the breath moves not just the belly, not just the chest, it moves a little bit the hips, it moves a little bit the shoulders, and before you realize, you can see it's moving your whole body, very little. It's like your whole body is breathing. It's a very subtle movement, but that is nice, because that makes you pay attention. So as you feel your whole body expanding, that which you're feeling is the elasticity of the tissues that enclose it. If your skin, your fascia was rigid, you couldn't move. If your ligaments, your nerves, your muscles, if they were all rigid, the breath wouldn't move. Now everything is oscillating with the breath. Very little, very subtle. But with this awareness and the sensitivity that we have gained from the previous exercises, now we start to feel first that general movement of the body, but second, some of you at least, like waves of vibration, almost like goosebumps. Sometimes it feels, I think I have said it some other place, you know, these flocks of birds that are flying and then they change direction. So sometimes you can feel in the body like movements of energy through the head, through the chest, through the hips. Don't chase them, but start to pay attention. Train your mind to see a bigger perspective, to have a panoramic awareness of your whole body and not just of this thought or that thought. This might not feel easy or natural at first, but soon you realize you have a kinesthetic awareness of the whole body at all times. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to stand up. You are registering information through the eyes, through the ears, through the nose, and all that is integrating with your movements, with your speech, with your actions. So this full body awareness is there. Now it tends to go to thought and action. Now we take it into feeling and perception. And now add the breath. We did it already, but as you feel kind of the body as a whole, really feel at the same time the movement of the breath, the movement of the diaphragm. Now put it in the center. We are not a sphere, but it's a nice metaphor. Think of your breath at the center of this sphere of energy, of this shape of energy, and the whole thing absorbing the energy that the breath releases, pulsating, vibrating, fluctuating, expanding and releasing with it. We release all exercises, all tools, all techniques, all desires to do something with the practice, and we return to this human being lying down on the floor. Almost imagine for a second you don't know who you are. Almost imagine for a second your memory bank has been erased. Yeah? So you're there feeling almost as if you were an animal. You are. Now, as this living entity on the floor, where do you place identity? Track. So for a second you place identity on listening to the track or to my words, but now go inside. If you had to say this is me, where do you place, physically speaking, where do you put that me? We tend to put it in the face, yeah? In the head. Maybe you're very connected with your feelings, maybe in the heart. But we are everything. We are our small toe, we are our hair, we are our teeth. So, this is going to be the last exercise of the day. Before you love yourself, go through the body and recognize that every part is you. Is not your hip, is you. Is not your knee, is you. Is not your thoughts, is you. As you include that every part of you is a part of you, the isness rises, and the having, the possession, this is my thoughts, this is my hand, diminishes a little. And isness, as you feel it in different points, you start to see, like we did with the body before, tractor. I hate it and I also like it a little bit. So, before we were feeling points and then we were feeling the whole body with the breath animating it. Now with identity is almost the same. Can you feel that? You can be here, your hand, you can be your shoulder, you can be your ear, and at the same time you're neither and you're all of them. So this sense of identity can be focal, but with the freedom of being your foot rather than owning your foot. And simultaneously can be inclusive and feel like you're more than just your foot. Difficult to explain certain things. To simplify very much, just go around. Who am I? Am I this? And most often you will say, well, not entirely, but yeah, also. And keep doing that. Move through everything that you are. And I am, and I am more. And then move attention towards the breathing again. And then move attention towards the body again. And then move attention towards the breathing again. And feel another difficult idea to put in words. How the way attention moves, it's also you. The way attention looks, the way it bounces feedback back to center, that process is also you. Okay. And think about it. Try to explain it better next time. I leave you in savasana. Keep going to these tools when you do your relaxation before you go to sleep or days that you need to give yourself a break. Feel the body, feel gravity in the body, feel the breath, feel the vibrance in the body, feel the body softening, and then see if you can unify your practice so you can see more of you simultaneously rather than the parts. At the end of the practice, doesn't hurt. Where am I? Who am I? A question that reminds you that beyond your job and your passport, there is something else to life. There is unsolved questions that we are all curious about before we die. And it's fine. We don't find answers, we stay with the questions. It's fine. We are all confused. Okay. Hope you feel relaxed. Have a big glass of water. And I see you soon. Thank you very much.